Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Let's go to Surah Al-A'raf. And one of the things that we want to make sure we do is we want to make sure that the surah are more than just familiar to us. Okay? That they become terms. Like, does anybody need to tell you what Muslim means? No. Everybody, it's become a term. Surah Al-A'raf. You know, we say the word Muslim and we know what that means. Well, some people know what that means. Well, we say Sirat, right? We know Sirat al-Mustaqim. We know that's Arabic, but that's a term. We don't have to translate it anymore, right? When we say Insha'Allah and MashaAllah, Wastaghfirullah, all these are Islamic terms in the Arabic language. And this is why one of the rulings that we Westerners have wasted and not stood for is we have not learned Arabic as the language. It is fardu ayn, meaning it is an obligation on every single Muslim, not scholars. Scholars have a different obligation, but the regular, everyday Muslim, layman if you want to call it, to be fluent in Arabic. That's right. We have an ummah, right? An ummah is a nation. Isn't it correct?
Right.
Every nation has a national language, right? Okay, well, the national language for Islam is the Arabic language. So every Muslim has to be at least conversational. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made obligatory on everybody. What's the proof? What's the proof that you have to be conversational? Which means you have to be able to hear Arabic on a basic level, on a Quranic level, and understand what is being said from the Arabic right there. And you have to be able to read it, or even if you can't read it, let's say you can't read it, but you have to be able to recite it and pronounce it properly. Okay? What's the proof? I don't want a proof from the aql before we get a naql. There's two types of proof, aqlan and naqlan. Aqlan is intellectual. Naqlan is from Quran and Sunnah. From the adab, he gave me a proof from the aql. But from the adab is first to give a proof from the naql.
The ayah, what?
The ayah.
The ayah where Allah says, fairly reveal the Quran and
no,
Arabic.
the first proof is the first word ever revealed.
Iqra.
What does it say?
Iqra.
Everybody knows that. That is the proof that it is obligatory upon everyone to learn Arabic. What did Allah say?
Iqra.
Iqra. Just the word Iqra. What does that mean? Read or recite. Does that mean you have to read or recite it in English or in Arabic? So automatically, the mafhum, the understanding is that you have to read it in Arabic. An obligation to do something that you don't know how to do is an obligation to learn how to do that. Allah says, offer salah, establish the salah. So that means you need to learn how to offer salah, right? That means you have to go make wudu. Is that correct?
Right, that's right.
So in order for you to read, you need to learn how to read in Arabic, right? That's one. Do you think that iqra means just read? What does it also mean? No, besides that, understand. He wants you to understand what you're reciting. He doesn't want you just to read it. He wants you to understand it in what? In the language he sent it in. Is that not correct?
Yeah, no.
Because if he wanted you to understand it in another language, he would have revealed it in another language. Did you know that the Noble Quran, which is one of the best translations or interpretations of the meanings of the Quran, there was a special note that was in there prior to 9/11. And they started changing the books after that. And it was by the people who translated it. They said that this translation of the Quran is only for non-Muslims and new Muslims, so that they can get an idea of what is in the Quran. If this book is to be intended for Muslims to continue to read, then it would be a very evil thing. It would be an evil thing, because that's starting to take us away from the Arabic language. There was someone was telling me there was a symposium or some type of conference. They were saying that they're trying to get Arabic language out of the countries in what, 50 years? What? 50 years. Now, they may be able to do that in the Arab countries, but I don't think they're going to be able to get that away from the Muslims. But we have to do our part. And our part is to understand what is our obligation. The very first word revealed was Iqra. Have we stood to do that? To recite it? To learn what it means when we're reciting it and understand it? And then the other mafhum, other understanding of the word Iqra is what? Apply it. Okay? Now, there's another point here. We're talking about the way the people of the past understood it. They understood it, the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, and those others, they understood it is that you should be in constant reading of it. That not only do you read it one time and have it read, then we would put it down, right? But what we're supposed to be doing is reading it and finishing it, reading it, and then starting all over and reading it and finishing reading it. And the Sahaba, they considered that if they spent more than 60 days, if more than 60 days passed and they had not finished a reading of the Quran, that they were sinning. Okay? Again, we talk about everybody wants to be Salafi. Be Salafi in that. Okay? Read the Quran and make sure 60 days don't end before you finished a reading. Anything after that, the Salaf felt that that was sinful. Okay? Now, that's reading 10 pages a day. Okay? Al-Hil wal-Rihla. That's what the Prophet called it. Freeing yourself and the journey. The journey is the traveling through the Quran and then starting again. And some would do it in 30 days. And some would do it in 20 days. And some would do it in 10 days. And some would do it every 2 weeks. And most of them, we're talking about thousands of narrations. Most of the Sahaba would do it, or the Tabi'een would do it every 7 days. Now, that's not something that I'm suggesting for us because we are still learning. And if we do something that we're not at the level, it will break us. But I am saying, from this moment on, let's make a change. Just like it's real easy to read the Quran in Ramadan because you know everybody else is reading it. And so you're encouraged to read. Let us, from this moment on, all make an oath to Allah. You don't have to do it here, but to yourself, that you will not let 60 days pass before you finish a reading of the Quran. Now, I tell you this, if you do that, your life will change. That will be one of the major, it is the most thing that will change your life. The ulama of the past and the present have all agreed on the fact that nothing will increase your iman quicker and more powerfully than the revelation, the reading of the Quran. What's their proof? Their proof is whenever something happened to the Prophet ﷺ, something happened with the Sahaba, what did Allah do?
Revealed ayah.
He revealed some Quran. You see that? To calm them, to give the itma in qulubahum. So what made them good and calm is going to make us calm. What's going to increase their iman is going to increase our iman. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
So we keep looking for things, trying to touch our ear over here. This is my ear. And we just got the real simple things. Just read the Quran. And if you can't read the Quran, then learn how to. It is the easiest language in the world. By design, because Allah intended it for everyone in the world to recite it. And anybody who says that the Quran is hard to memorize is a liar, is an ignorant liar. Why? What's my proof? Allah's statement. Allah said, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ. He said, I have already made this Quran, this recital, easy for you to remember. فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. But is there anyone who's going to take advantage of that? That's what Allah says. So it's not on Allah or on the Quran, it's on us to take the onus upon ourselves and stop doing it. You know what they say? What's the criteria for insanity? Keep doing something, the same thing, expecting something different to happen. I mean, we say that, but look at us. Look at us. And the state of affairs that we're at. The reason why we're going through this during this Ramadan is so that we can get a different view of the Quran that we haven't been exposed to prior. And people have been saying that. So now we're getting it. And this is, it's not just to say it though. It's to get it and to do something with it. Practical things. And we're going to talk about this as we go through these particular ayah. Because this surah is about how your aqidah is to make you proactive in your practice of Islam. Remember the last surah, Surah Al-An'am, was about how your aqidah, if it's correct, your ibadah will be correct, right? And if your aqidah is screwed up, is not correct, then the ibadah becomes incorrect. And people start making things up, right? In this one, we're saying, okay, if you believe properly, then this should show up in your attitude, okay? It should show up in your mu'amalat. And your mu'amalat are every action you do that in and of itself is not an act of ibadah. Ibadah are only 5 things. Your i'tiqad, that strong belief you have inside, that shahada, that pledge you've taken. Your salah, your zakah, your siyam, and your hajj. Everything else is mu'amalat. Everything else we do, our walking, our sleeping, our talking, our using the toilet, our eating, our intercourse, all of it is considered from the mu'amalat. It can become acts of ibadah due through our intention and our ittiba'. Those 2 things have to come. And the third one, our sincerity. Right? This is what we have to do. Now, how do we get this correct? Because we're dealing with the people on a daily basis. I'm dealing with you and with other people. And we find that people are not applying Islam in the simple, practical ways of their lives. We're dressing up like Muslims, which is good. You have to be that which you want others to be. You have to become that which you want to be, right? You have to start. But it has to go more than just plastic, than appearances. It has to come out in our day-to-day activities. Or what is it? What is the difference between us and a kafir? Just we dress differently? No, they dress differently. Everybody dress different. So our activities must reflect what we really believe. And when is that going to take place? What are we waiting for to make that take place? You know? Yes, ma'am.
I'm waiting for a teacher. In all fairness, I know a lot of Muslims have been in Islam a long time and haven't really learned like they should. But it's not because a lot of us don't want to. The teachers come and go.
I agree with you. Teachers do come and go. It's very difficult to get a teacher to commit. You know what breaks a teacher's heart?
Students.
You know, the lack of commitment. Okay? Teachers will pay to teach. When I went to Mauritania, they paid us. They fed us years, gave us breakfast they gave us breakfast and lunch for years. They gave us money every 4 months. I'm not talking about Saudi Arabia, I'm talking about the people. They would come and bring us food and then wait for their bowl because that's the only bowl they got. And then you didn't know it. You say, okay, thank you. And you open the door, they're still there. You know, what do you? Okay, eat. And then I get my bowl back so we can eat. You understand? Because they're so happy to see you come. So if you want that, you have to, everybody has to put some skin in the game. Because teachers are like what they call a candle who's dropping off everything it comes. It's going to drop on the floor, it's going to drop on other small candles, and they're going to get bigger. But they're giving up themselves. We've come and we've given lessons, and there'll be 1 or 3 people in the classroom. And then they're not there sometime. And then you go home hungry. And then you have to get a job. There are many great students that I left overseas who are never coming back here. You know, because they don't want to have the problem. And they don't want to get left in the lurch by the students. So, you know, it's a relationship. It's a relationship. And that commitment has to be a reciprocal. So you want a teacher? I consider myself a teacher. Okay? And I'll give you everything that I can give you. Everybody has to realize that teachers don't teach at their level. They teach at what the students need. Okay? And as soon as the students can take more, they'll give more. That's how it'll go. So let's get started, inshallah ta'ala. We're on ayah 31. We ended yesterday with the Ya Bani Israel. We'll go again and we'll repeat that ayah. We did some of the Ya Bani Adam. Okay? We began the surah, we gave us a picture of what happened with Shaitan and Adam. We gave a more vivid and a more detailed description. Now we're moving on, and Allah is giving us advices. Okay? Come over this way. Right there. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين. O sons of Adam, take your beautification, meaning your clothing, every time you leave the house and go to the masjid. It doesn't mean just going to the masjid. Again, it means that where should you be going when you leave the house? To the masjid. This is built upon the principle that how many salah were commanded for us to pray? No. 50. And if we were to pray 50 salah, why? Does anybody understand that hadith? The hadith, it tells us, now there's another rule I want you to know. All through this, I want to give you guys principles. And if you take the principles, you'll be able to use them outside of the class. Okay? Now, the first principle is the principle of hadith. Hadith, we say, Ahlul Hadith say, the hadith leads everyone astray except for Ahlul Hadith. Okay? Meaning, just because you learn a hadith doesn't mean you understand what it means. But it's just like reading the Quran. Read it, become familiar with it, so when you run into someone who can explain it to you, then it can put it in place. Does that make sense? Now the hadith goes that the Prophet ﷺ went on the night of Isra, and he went up to the Jannah, and he got to a point, Sidratul Muntaha, where even Jibreel said, well, I can't go no further. And the Prophet said, is this where a friend leaves a friend? So in some place like this, seriously? He said, I'm not authorized. I go any further, I'll burn up. Every other order from Allah came down. This order, he had to come up. He was called up, showing the greatness of this particular order. And then he goes back and forth, up and down the heavens, arguing with Musa, right? Do we think that Allah didn't know that was going to happen? We knew he knew it was going to happen. Then why did it happen? What was the wisdom behind it? There's a lesson in it for us. The lesson in it for us is that you have been commanded to do 50 salah. If we were to do 50 salah, that's every 24 minutes, approximately. There's 24 hours in a day. Do you get that? Yeah. That almost every 24 minutes, we will be offering salah. All day, just going, making wudu, snatch something to eat, rest a few moments, and pray. Meaning your life is supposed to be about salah, ibadah. Allah never says make salah. He says aqimus salah. Establish it as part of your life. Does that make sense? Yes. So when he says inda kulli masjidin, meaning that you suppose when you leave the house, the expectation is going to the masjid. That's where we should be going. And that is the best place we should be going. Right? Anything else, any other place is a lesser place than going to the masjid. Does that make sense? So it's inclusive of any other place as well. Wakulu washrabu, and eat and drink. And why is eating and drinking meant here as an advice? Because Shaitan, from the very beginning, has used food to poison us and alter our nature. Right? From the very first time, he's used food. Taste this. And so still today, we have to be careful about the food that we eat, because it'll alter our nature. Does everybody follow me? And this is a point that many people just are blind to, the fact how the connection of food and our nature, when Allah mentions it over and over and over again, in connection with Shaitan, in connection with how to correct yourself. And we think, especially the African descendants, that because we're not eating pork anymore, we can eat anything. No, we still have to look to see what we eat and in the portions that we eat. In the time of Umar bin al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he made it haram for any Muslim to eat meat 2 days in a row. This is what Umar made it a law. And the Prophet ﷺ said, I leave behind you two, Abu Bakr and Umar, follow them. There's an advice in this. We don't need it like that. We need to look how we eat and see how it affects our nature. وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. And this word, لَا تُسْرِفُوا, initially it means, and don't be wasteful. It's not to be stepped on just at eat and drink. It's to include your clothing. Your clothing, your clothing should be functional. Otherwise, it's wasteful. Your clothing should be functional for your environment and still covering your aura properly. Your food and drink, you shouldn't waste it. Buying so much that it's in the refrigerator and you don't want to eat it. Just because you don't want to eat it because it's bland. We had that last night. Till it wastes. Till it wastes or rots in the refrigerator or on the counter. قُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ مِنَ الرِّزْقِ قُلْ هِيَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا خَالِصَةً يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كَذَلِكَ نُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. He says, say, who is the one who has made it haram? The beautiful clothing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought out for his slaves. وَالطَّيِّبَاتِ مِنَ الرِّزْقِ. And the wholesome, pure things he's made from rizq. Rizq here is what we eat, right? Do you see the connection again? Reiterate it again. Wearing our clothing and what we eat. Why wearing our clothing? What did Shaitan strip us from?
Clothing.
ينزع عنهما لباسهما ليريهما ليبدي لهما عوراتهما أو سوآتهما, right? That he snatched, he made them, he tricked them into eating something that altered their perception, and now they were stripped off of their clothing and they could see each other's shapes, right? So Allah's giving us a cure here. Wear your beautiful adornments and pay attention to the tayyibati min ar-rizq, the good things, the wholesome things that he has provided for you. Say, hiya lilladhina amanu. These things are for the believers in this life. Along with the kuffar, they can eat it too, but it's specifically khalisatan for the people of the believers on the day of standing. Because on the day of standing, the kuffar are getting boiling water and pus and the heads of devils to eat. And we're going to get the tayyibat. Say, like this, I break down and clarify the ayat for people who know better, who know that this is from Allah. قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّيَ الْفَوَاحِشَ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ وَالْإِثْمَ وَالْبَغْيَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ سُلْطَانًا وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. It says here, this is the maqasid of the Sharia. This right here, this ayah wraps up the maqasid of Sharia, the objectives of the Sharia in one ayah. My deen, my mind, my wealth, my honor, my lineage, myself. Islam has come to preserve and protect, prioritize, and always respect my deen, my mind, my wealth, my honor, my lineage, myself. It says, say, the fact of the matter is, the only things my Lord has made haram is fawahish. That's my nasab, my honor, my lineage. Fawahish, zina. Ma dhahara minha wa ma batan. What is apparent from it and the subtleties of it too. All the other things that lead to it. Wal ithm. Ithm is described in the Arabs, yaqulun ithm, for something that takes away your aql. Sharabtul ithm. Ithm is wine in amongst the Bedouins. And it's anything that messes with your aql. So infamous is my deen, my mind, my wealth, al-baghya, is to snatch somebody's wealth or their life and take it away from them. بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. You see that? وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ. And that's shirk. وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. And to say about Allah what you don't know, which is general. The democracy people say that there's secularism, right? There's separation of church and state. Yet the longest ayah in the Quran is about death. So there's no separation between church and state. You get my point? They're talking about Allah what they don't know. The Christians say that Allah is Thalithu Thalatha, the Trinity. They're saying about Allah what they don't know. You get my point? So it is encompassing. To say about Allah what you don't know encompasses the shirk, the kufr, in all of its aspects. Because if you only spoke the truth, you wouldn't have to worry about it. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٍ فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. And every ummah, every nation has its appointed time. Allah is threatening us, y'all. After everything he just said here, he's telling us, look, you only got a period of time. What did Shaitan ask for? Time. Didn't we say at that point that Shaitan appreciates time? And Allah's telling us here, you only got a period of time. And so when your time comes, لا يستأخرون ساعة. We ain't going to put it off for an hour. You can't procrastinate it. ولا يستقدمون, and it ain't going to come forward. Meaning, it's not going to come early, but it ain't coming late neither. When your time is up, it's up. يا بني آدم إما يأتينكم رسل منكم يقصون عليكم آياتي فمن اتقى وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. He says, oh sons of Adam, in light of the fact that you only have a little bit of time, if there comes to you, meaning when it comes to you, messengers come to you from amongst yourselves, people that you know. And here we can include, and we want to be real clear here, not the teachers are the warithatul anbiya. Teachers, ulama, are inheritors of the prophet, and they go to their own people too. As we're going to see, it's vital and important that you understand why he says minkum, from amongst you. Why? Because we know each other. We know each other's culture. We know what we do. So we can best point to what's going wrong in our culture and how to correct it according to the Sharia. As opposed to someone who come into you who don't know what our lifestyle is like. Does that make sense? So when we talk about it, what response we get always is, who you to talk to me like that? You ain't nobody. You just a man, right? And this is the response as, oh, man, we've been doing this forever. And that's the response we get. And that's been always the response. يَقُصُّونَ عَلَيْكُمُ آيَاتِ. They're talking to you, telling you stories and relating to you about my signs. So whoever has taqwa, consciousness, whoever is vigilant and corrects himself, وَأَصْلَحَ in Hafs, أَصْلَحَ in Warsh, and corrects himself, فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِ. He has nothing to fear about what's going to happen in the hereafter. وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. He's got nothing to worry about what happened in the past. وَالَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا عَنْهَا أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. And whoever, those people who reject, who denounce this, and reject the ayat of Allah, and they get arrogant with it. They get arrogant, feel over entitled, meaning feeling entitled, we can do this. We can do this, what you talking about? Then these are the people that's going to the fire. And they will be in there forever. فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا أَوْ كَذَّبَ بِآيَاتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ يَنَالُهُمْ نَصِيبُهُمْ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ حتى إذا جاءتهم رسلنا يتوفونهم قالوا أين ما كنتم تدعون من دون الله قالوا ضلوا عنا وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. So who is the worst zalim? I keep pointing out this word. Oppressor, injustice doer. Than the one who fabricates a lie about a lie, or he calls the signs of Allah a lie. He denounces the ayat of Allah. The ones who do this, yanalahum, they will get what their portion was from the book, meaning the qadr of Allah. Allah has decreed some people to go to Jannah, and Allah has decreed some people to go to the fire. They're going to get what Allah wrote for them. To the point, when it comes to them, their messengers, they're going to get, maybe, and even in the dunya, they're going to get whatever they got coming, whether it's good or not. Some people, some of the ulama, when they talk about this ayah, this portion, they say, just because you got wealth, just because you got good things, don't mean Allah love you. Just because you got hardship, don't mean Allah don't love you. So they're going to get, and sometimes Allah gives to make you, give you enough rope to hang yourself, as they say. To the point now, in this ayah says, until the point when the angels of death come, yet they were found out to snatch their souls. They say, the angels are going to say, Aina ma kuntum tad'una. Where's that thing you was calling on besides Allah? Where's that? Aina. Where's your shuraka? Where's your idol? Where's your horoscope? Where's your thing that you was worshiping? Where's the people you was trying to impress? Where do your help at besides Allah? And they're going to respond saying, Dallu anna. We can't even find it. And they're going to bear witness on their own selves that they were kafirs. Why? We mentioned earlier why. Because in reality, a lie doesn't exist. So in the next world, it's the world of al-haqq. So that's why dalla anhum, they can't find, it's gone. Lies no longer exist, only the truth exists, so they have to speak the truth. So then what said to them? قَالَ دُخُلُوا فِي أُمَمٍ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ فِي النَّارِ. Now we come into another story, people, another picture. Remember in the last surah was the hisab. Now we're talking about what happens when they go to Jahannam. So the angel's going to say to you, all right, get inside. Get in. Get in where? Get in the fire with all those other nations that we have taken out before you. Okay? From the genies and the humans. In the fire with you. كُلَّمَا دَخَلَتْ أُمَّةٌ لَعَنَتْ أُخْتَهَا. Every time an ummah. Now look at this. This is a proof that shows us that when the hisab is taken, it's going to be in order of our existence. Okay? So the earlier nations get their hisab and they go into the fire first. And then the later nations go and this goes. And we go in as groups as it seems. And Allah knows best. He says every time a group, an ummah, goes and ties the fire, what do? لَعَنَتْ أُخْتَهَا. They curse the people that preceded them. Why are they cursing the people that preceded them? Remember I be telling guys, look, I say, listen, we got to change some of the things. A lot of the brothers, they have the haircut, the Caesar haircut, right? Ibn Taymiyyah in his Fatawa Islamiyah, he calls it a bid'ah, that people would keep their hair cut short so they can wear their kufi. Okay? They call it mutadayyin. I want to look like I got deen, so I'm going to keep my head short. Why? This habit began when people were coming from Hajj. And the ulama were coming from Hajj, they had short hair. Right? Why? Because they just had made Hajj. And they had so the sight of an alim was with a bald head or just new hair growing. People say, man, I want to look like a scholar. They cut their hair and start doing it. And still today, a lot of brothers, I've asked them, yo, why you keep your hair short? Well, I got to wear my kufi. Well, get a bigger kufi. It's not from the sunnah to keep it short like that. Some say, well, you can wear any type of haircut. Unless it's a haircut that people are known to be depraised by it. Look at what it says in Abi Dawood. Simahum tahliq. The sign of the Prophet ﷺ said there's going to come a people in the later generations. They're going to come into Islam like an arrow and leave like an arrow. Well, how will we know them, Rasulullah? They're going to be constantly shaving their heads. Simahum tahliq. So when it's a haircut, a style that's been depraised by the Prophet ﷺ, then yeah, you're wrong for having a haircut like that when you got hair. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana lahu sha'run falyukrimhu." Whoever has hair, let him honor it. And we know honoring is to give, to oil and comb, and then cut it when you go make Hajj and Umrah. And the Prophet said, for every hair of a man that touches the ground in sajda, he gets a barakah. For every hair. For more hair you cut when you go make Umrah, you get more barakah. But we don't leave that, because we've been doing that. That's our style. That's what we do, homie. Well, you need to leave that and get with this. Get with the sunnah. Get with the salaf and how they understood that. The Sahaba used to consider it humiliating to shave a man's head. That's why whenever they caught a kafir, they shaved his head and sent him home bald. And that's the same thing they do in American culture too. Investigating. And that's why they cursed the people that came before them. Because they was following them. حتى إذا اداركوا فيها جميعا قالت أخراهم لأولاهم. Until they all get to the depths of the fire. Everybody's in there. Then the earlier ones say to the latter ones, Then the latter ones say to Allah about the earlier ones, رَبَّنَا هَؤُلَاءِ أَضَلُّونَا فَآتِهِمْ عَذَابًا ضِعْفًا مِنَ النَّارِ. So the latter ones say, oh Allah, give these people who preceded us a double punishment. Okay? ضِعْفًا مِنَ النَّارِ. For leading us astray, for setting the example bad for us, right? قال لكل ضعف ولكن لا تعلمون. And then it will be said, everybody's getting a double portion, but you don't know. Why you don't know? Because you don't know what type of punishment you was going to get in the first place. So no, you don't know what type of punishment the other one's going to get.
Yes, you don't. You just know you.
You just know you. So this is what I said. So everybody's going to get double. It's Jahannam. It's all bad. وقالت أولاهم لأخراهم فما كان لكم علينا من فضل فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكسبون. Compare this to what happens in paradise, where we won't only hear but salaman, salaman, right? Peace, peace. Here the people in Jahannam are cursing each other. Here the people in Jahannam are hating on each other. They say, the earlier people say, to the latter people, y'all ain't got no status over us. You ain't got no status over us. Y'all ain't no better situation than us. Taste the fire. Take your punishment. That's what they're saying. Take your punishment for what you used to do, for what you earned. This is what the people in Jahannam are saying to each other. That's the type of the hatred they still got for each other, because it's Jahannam. إن الذين كذبوا بآياتنا واستكبروا عنها لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُجْرِمِينَ. The fact of the matter is, those people who reject and call the ayat of Allah a lie, and they were arrogant about it, they felt they were entitled to disobey it. The doors of the sky, of the universe, meaning Jannah, will not be open for them, and they will never enter Jannah until a camel can get through the eye of a needle. This is what we call in Balagha mustahil. He's given an example of something that can never happen. Until a camel goes through the eye of a needle, that means they ain't never getting in. And like that, we punish the mujrimeen, the criminals. لهم من جهنم مهاد ومن فوقهم غواش وكذلك نجزي الظالمين. And he said they will have for themselves from Jahannam, okay? From fire meaning. From the makeup of Jahannam, which we know is fire. Mihadun, a bed of fire. وَمِن فَوْقٍ, and over them, ghawash is the plural of ghashiyah, ghatiyah. They're going to have a blanket of fire. And that's how we reward the zalimin. Again, that word zalimin. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَا نُكَلِّفُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Note the adab of Allah. Whenever Allah tells us the good He's going to do, He tells us what He's going to do to the people who don't do it right. Whenever He tells how He's going to punish, He tells how He's going to reward. Targhib wa tarheeb. To let us understand the balance. He says it's for those who believe and their actions cause them to, and their belief caused them to do good, righteous deeds. Allah has not called you to account for anything that you could not handle. These are the ones that are going to be the companions of the garden, and they will abide in there forever. وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّنْ غِلٍّ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهِمُ الْأَنْهَارُ. I mentioned this yesterday. Please remember. Gil, gall. They have this bitter, this bad attitude about something. Bad taste in the mouth. What about the people that owe me? They owe me. They diss me in this world. They backbite me. They slander me. They did this. They make my life miserable, quote unquote. Right? I want revenge. That's what we say here in this world. That's what we have in our heart, and that's a dangerous situation. Dangerous. Because if we have so much hatred for somebody else, our dua won't be answered. Every week and every night. Allah doesn't forgive the people holding a grudge against another believer. Okay? So He says here, وَنَزَعْنَا, and Allah says that we snatched out, we extracted what was in the hearts of the believers, min ghillin, from their bitterness, their bad feeling, the bad taste they had in their mouth that was remaining. Okay? So nobody enters into Jannah with a grudge. You get it? Nobody gets to go into Jannah with a grudge. We have the hadith that backs this up. When people get to the other side of the sirat and they pass over Jahannam, when they get out of Jahannam, Allah says, leave these two. Don't let them in. Leave these two until they reconcile. Leave these two until they reconcile. Leave these two until they reconcile. Who wants to go through that? You will solve your problems here or there. Who wants to, how frustrating it is to be outside the gates of Jannah, to see inside and can't go inside. Till you reconcile over some petty thing that happened in this petty world. Dunya means petty. Dunya means taffy, yani small,
and
low, base, temporary. We gotta let it go for the greater things. And God, تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهِمُ الْأَنْهَارُ, and flowing beneath them there will be gardens and water. وَقَالُوا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي هَدَانَا لِهَذَا وَمَا كُنَّا لِنَهْتَدِيَ لَوْلَا أَنْ هَدَانَا اللَّهُ لَقَدْ جَاءَتْ رُسُلُ رَبِّنَا بِالْحَقِّ وَنُودُوا أَن تِلْكُمُ الْجَنَّةُ أُورِثْتُمُوهَا بِمَا كُنتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. He says here, and they will say, Alhamdulillah, the one who guided us to this. And we wouldn't have been guided, we wouldn't have been able to accept the guidance if it wasn't for the fact that Allah guided us. Now, the ulama stop here and say, why are they saying this? It's not the land of taklif now. But because they got in the habit of saying this in the dunya, it comes out of them in the next world. Okay? That they would say they would be so grateful to Allah in this particular fashion. So we should be busy saying these types of dua. لَقَدْ جَاءَتْ, the messengers of our Lord told the truth. We bear witness. They told the truth. We get to go to Jannah. It was true. What a joy that is. And then it's going to be called out. وَنُودُوا, and it's going to be called out, a caller, a mu'adhin is going to call out, and tilkumul jannah, this is your jannah. Tilkum is yours. Urithumuha. Al-Arab, the Arabs are the first ones to say, Inna al-ma'a ma'u abi wa jaddi. This is al-mathal in al-Arab. Meaning that when you want to claim something is yours, you say you inherited. Inna al-ma'a ma'u abi wa jaddi. It's from my father and my grandfather. That's a stronger claim of ownership than I did this. This is mine. I bought this. Or you get my point?
Heritage.
Nah, because it's from my heritage. Who can deny that? Where you get it from? I mean, Abi wa Jaddi. Where you get it from? I bought it at dollar store. Man, get that up. Get that to that man. You get my point? So, here Allah is saying this statement, letting us see that with the Jannah, urithumuha, you've inherited it, meaning it's yours. It's a type of, you ain't gonna get it taken away. It's your right, because something that you inherit is your right, right? Bima kuntum ta'malun, because of what you used to do. Along with the fact that nobody gets in Jannah. We know that nobody gets in Jannah except by the mercy of Allah. So what do your actions do? Your actions show that you really want it. You trying hard. Don't we give credit when people try hard? They try and they fail, and we see our children failing and trying to do something. We give them credit. We give it to them. So we're trying to prove to Allah that we really want it, even though we know we're going to fail and we're going to keep failing, because He created us forgetful and sinful. إِذَا ذُكِرَ ذَكَرَ. But when we remember, when we're reminded, we remember, and we don't act like we don't know. That's the difference. When Shaitan was reminded and called to account, he got arrogant. He blamed. When Adam and Hawa, when they were called to account, they acknowledged their sin. You see the difference? وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ أَن قَدْ وَجَدْنَا مَا وَعَدَنَا رَبُّنَا حَقًّا فَهَلْ وَجَدْتُم ما وعد ربكم حقا قالوا نعم فأذن مؤذن بينهم اللعنة الله على الظالمين الذين يصدون عن سبيل الله ويبغونها عوجا وهم بالآخرة كافرون. And there will be a caller who calls out. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. The people in Jannah are going to call out to the people in the fire. And they're going to say, we have found that the promise of our Lord is the truth. Was true. It was true. We found that out. We believed and we found it to be true. So have you all found out that the threat of Allah was true? They're going to say, nah, yeah. And then a mu'adhin is going to call out between them. So it's not the people in Jannah, not the people in also an angel is going to call out saying, La'natullah, the curse of Allah is on the zalimeen. Again, that word zalim. Who are the zalimeen? Alladhina yasudduna an sabila, the people who block you, who try to stop you from following the path of Allah. وَيَبَغُونَهَا, and they desire to twist it up. Iwaja. Literally, they try to twist it up, make it look as you terrorists, to make it look ugly. You get it? To drive you away from it. Why you got the woman dressed like that? What's wrong with you? Why you got a beard? And all this other stuff they be saying. These are the people who have disbelieved in the hereafter. وَبَيْنَهُمَا الْحِجَابِ وَبَيْنَهُمَا حِجَابِ. And between them is a hijab. وَعَلَى الْأَعْرَافِ رِجَالٌ يَعْرِفُونَ كُلًّا بِسِيمَاهُمْ. I don't think we have enough time. They want me to stop at 8 o'clock on the dot. Yes, I'm gonna finish. We can finish this. Okay. And between them is a hijab. Where am I? A hijab. What is a hijab? Barrier. وَعَلَى الْأَعْرَافِ رِجَالٌ يَعْرِفُونَ كُلًّا بِسِيمَاهُمْ. And on the a'raf, the high grounds between Jannah and Nar, are men that they recognize everybody by their signs. Now the ulama disagree about this. They say that these are people whose bad deeds and their good deeds have become equal. They did something that would get them into Jannah and keep them out of the fire, and they did something that should put them in the fire and keep them out of Jannah. Like what? Like uququl walidain, like not respecting their parents properly. This is a preventive from keeping you in Jannah. And at the same time, he's a mujahid who was killed, who was murdered fi sabilillah. Okay? This is the example the ulama give. A man who was made a shaheed, he should go to Jannah, right? But he had uququl walidain. He didn't respect his parents enough. That should put him in the fire. So he gets put on the a'raf. And some ulama say that ain't it. They say because he's called rijal. But the people in Jahannam are called rijal too. Okay? So they say this is people who were given da'wah in this world. And so they get to see, and they were leaders and told their people to do right. So they get to see what's going on. And they were judges in the world. Allah knows best who they are. We only have this. We don't have more explanation about it. So listen to it. They're on this high spot and they can tell who's going to Jahannam and who's going to Jannah. وَنَادَوْا أَصْحَابَ الْجَنَّةِ أَنْ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ. And whenever they see the people that's going to Jannah, they call out to them, Salam alaikum! Well, because they can recognize them. Salam alaikum! لَمْ يَدْخُلُوهَا وَهُمْ يَطْمَعُونَ. They haven't entered into the garden yet. But they have hope, they're desiring, they're anxious to get in. Okay? So they're giving salams. وَإِذَا صُرِفَتْ أَبْصَارُهُمْ تِلْقَاءَ أَصْحَابِ النَّارِ قَالُوا. And every time they're surifat, their eyes happen to, by mistake, they don't try to look at the people of the fire. They focusing on the people of Jannah, hoping that, I'm just looking at them, hoping we could be one of them. But every time their eyes catch, by accident, somebody from the people of the fire, they say, قَالُوا رَبَّنَا لَا تَجْعَلْنَا مَعَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. They pray, oh my Lord, our Lord, don't make us one of the people, don't make us be with the people who are ظَالِمِينَ. Again, that word ظَالِمِينَ. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْأَعْرَافِ رِجَالًا يَعْرِفُونَهُمْ بِسِيمَاهُمْ. And the people of the A'raf, they call out to those people that they recognize from the people of the fire. They know who they are. Yo, that's Hitler right there. There go Trump. Okay? You get my point? They call, yo, there you go right there. Yo, and they call out to them. That's what they say. قالوا ما أغنى عنكم جمعكم وما كنتم تستكبرون. They say, your wealth didn't help you nothing. All that stuff you amassed didn't help you anything. And all that arrogance you had, it ain't helping you. أهؤلاء الذين أقسمتم لا ينالهم الله برحمة ادخلوا الجنة لا خوف عليكم ولا أنتم تحزنون. They're going to be saying, are these the ones? Look, you was talking all that stuff, all that arrogance you had, all that wealth you did, all that things you did, ain't help you do nothing now. Are these the ones, these people over here, that you were saying that Allah would not have mercy on them? Enter into the garden. No fear upon y'all. And nothing to worry about. They're encouraging the people in Jannah. Go! Get in the garden. This is what they be saying to the people as they're going into the Jannah. That's the picture Allah is putting for us. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ أَصْحَابَ الْجَنَّةِ. And the people from the fire too. They're going to be calling out to the people of the Jannah too. أَنْ أَفِيضُوا عَلَيْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ يَوْمٍ مَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ. Pour out for us. Throw some water on us from Jannah or anything from the garden. Like a leaf from the garden didn't land on my head, so it just protect me, because the idea that anything from Jannah won't burn in the fire. And it'll cover me. Just throw something on me. or anything from what Allah has provided you with. قالوا إن الله حرمهما على الكافرين الذين اتخذوا دينهم لهوا ولعبا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا فاليوم ننساهم كما نسوا لقاء يومهم هذا وما كانوا بآياتنا يجحدون. They're going to say, the fact of the matter is, and they don't have no hard feelings, yo, Allah has made it haram. Both those things haram on kafirs. It's illegal for us to give these things to kafirs. They ain't going to be scared to call them kafirs then, right? Allah has made it illegal for us to give for these things for kafirs. Who are the kafirs? Those who have taken their deen as a joke, as a distraction. Lahwan wa la'iban. Okay? Al-hakumu, al-hakumu, the kafir, getting things, distracted them. Wa gharrathum hayat ad-dunya, and the temporary life deluded them. Okay? Amazed them. That's what gharrathum. They was amazed with this temporary life. So today, we're going to forget them like they forgot this meeting. Like they forgot that this day was going to happen. And they were, with regards to the ayat of Allah, rejecting them on purpose. Meaning they knew it was true and they still didn't do nothing about it. Here's a good place to stop right now. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Allah is painting a beautiful picture for us to see. Beautiful picture.